Hi, I'm Owen Chen.
I'm Lauren Binnert.
I'm Nicole Scagliola.
I'm Shelby Rackison,
I'm Danny Mogul.
and we research the effects of humans on broiler chickens.
Broiler breeders are hybrid chicken raised in the farm. They are bred with desired characteristics to produce eggs that hatch into broiler chicks, which are harvested for meat consumption. Broiler breeders enter egg production around 22 weeks of age and peak in production at around 30 weeks of age. Since the development of these broiler breeders are heavily controlled by the farmers, they are not available to the market for consumption. Way for the farmers to increase broiler breeders' production performance is to add special diet supplement with iron to these chickens. In broiler breeders, iron is an essential mineral that not only help boost the animal's metabolic process, but also add as a part of oxygen transporting molecule. Iron is highly available in nature and is relatively inexpensive compared to other mineral sources. Key minerals, the chemical form of the iron, such as phi amino acid, in particular have higher solubility while being digested by the birds. Therefore, it is frequently used as supplementary source in broiler breeders' feeds.
Broiler chickens are a breed of chicken raised specifically for meat production from the ancestral Gallus gallus. Over 60 years, the broiler chicken has undergone a 300% increase in growth rate. Most of this growth appears prevalent in the pectoral muscle of the chicken, and strong associations have been made between skeletal abnormalities in broiler chickens and these anatomical changes, which are believed to be a factor that predispose them to lameness. A longitudinal study was carried out to compare broilers to giant jungle fowl at 2 points in development, at the same absolute age, which is at 6 weeks, and at 15 weeks when they are considered fully grown. After the study, a decline in pelvic limb muscle mass was reported in commercial line birds, which may play a factor in compromising locomotor abilities because the birds are carrying a substantially larger body mass. Musculoskeletal abnormalities have been reported to affect approximately 28% of the broiler chicken population. Further evidence to support the selective pressure put on broiler chickens includes that they appear to take wider steps and have increased stance time, which can be linked to the instability put on them by an overall increased body mass, creating a greater pressure on their pelvic limbs. This selective pressure that appears to have been generated primarily by humans has created a functional demand for larger hip and knee extensors and flexors. Although this study was not able to conclude the exact extent to which broiler chickens deviate from their ancestral condition, it is clear to see that selective pressures established by humans for growth and yield of these birds has altered their morphology.
Housing conditions also have a major effect on the behavior of broiler chickens. Studies show that overcrowding in factory and farm pens have created a novel behavior not found among wild species of chickens. In nature, large birds and wild chickens are known for their anti-predatory behavior of resting towards the middle of the flock, while those lining the outside of the flock keep an eye out for approaching predators. While this behavior is initially seen in the younger broiler chickens, at around 4 to 5 weeks of age, chickens tend to migrate toward the outer rim of the flock near the walls of the pen. This does not exhibit an anti-predatory behavior, but instead a new one. Because of high densities towards the center of the flock, this behavior allows the chicken to minimize the disturbances and constant jostling caused by other chickens.
Antibiotics are used in broiler chicken feed for growth promotion and the prevention of infectious diseases. However, there is an overuse and misuse of antibiotics, creating a selective pressure on the recessive bacteria. Because farmers use a lot of antibiotics, they try to offset it with probiotic supplementation. It consists of lactic acid bacteria, which is a good bacteria, to enhance the growth and health of the chicken. The lactic acid bacteria can become pathogenic and carry an antibiotic-resistant gene that can be transmitted to other bacterial species. In an analysis, feces of broiler chickens were examined, and the results concluded that the lactic acid bacteria of the chickens were resistant to antibiotics, including penicillin, amoxicillin, and ampicillin. There's a buildup reservoir of antibiotic-resistant bacteria in the gut because there's an overuse of antibiotics as therapeutics and growth promoters. Furthermore, broiler chickens are given many types of antibiotics, while the only one that actually increases growth performance is penicillin. Therefore, bacteria are becoming resistant to all of the antibiotics that chickens are receiving. Chickens were given the antibiotic tetracycline. E. coli in the chicken have a tetracycline resistance gene causing disease.
This is phytosterol. A study was done to see the effect this molecule has when added to feed on growth and related gene expression in muscles of broiler chickens. specifically to examine how phytosterol affects myogenin, myostatin, S6K1, EIF4E, mTOR, and ubiquitin expression levels in developing broiler major muscles. The study used 123 avian broiler chickens and split them up into 7 groups of 16, one control group, and 6 groups with different levels of phytosterol added. They found that the 25-gram treatment of polyhydroxyphytosterol was most successful in increasing body weight. mRNA expression levels were increased for myogen, mTOR, S6K1, EIF4E in skeletal muscles. Myostatin and ubiquitin mRNA expression levels decreased. Phytosterol increases body weight and muscle weight in broiler chickens. Another study talked about the effects of adding vitamin C to the feed. Beneficial effects of vitamin C supplementation were evidenced by lower incidence of hypoxemia and the tendency to reduce the susceptibility of broilers to heart failure.